Hello, and welcome to this lesson on multiplying polynomials. Multiplying of polynomials. So let's go ahead and get into the first problem, which is 3x squared times negative 4x cubed. Okay, so when we multiply this, we start off by multiplying just the numbers together. So 3 times the negative 4 gives me negative 12. And now the x squared times the x cubed is going to give me x to the fifth. Because when I multiply two variables together that are the same, we just add the exponents. And so my final answer is negative 12x to the fifth. My next example is 5/6 x to the third times y times 12x y squared. Okay, so I start out with this by multiplying 5/6 times 12. And I'm actually going to write it like that. And now I'm going to write, x cubed times x. So we got x cubed times x. And now that leaves me with y times y squared. My next step for this fraction, my numerator is going to be 12 times 5, which equals 60. That's my numerator. My denominator is going to be 6 times 1, which is 6. Okay, for my next multiplication, x to the third times x to the first power is going to be x to the fourth power. And last, when I multiply y times y squared is going to be y to the third power. Because when the variables are the same, when I multiply, I just add my exponents. So I did that for y, and I did that for x to the third power times x to the first power, gave me x to the fourth power. You got the 4 by adding 3 plus 1. One more step, 60 divided by 6 equals 10. I just bring down the x to the fourth, y to the third power. Okay, and that's it for that problem. Next. Okay, for this problem, we have y times y minus 2. So I have to distribute this y to each term here. So y times y is going to be y squared and then y times negative 2 is going to be, then y times negative 2 is going to be negative 2y. And again, going back to the beginning here, when I multiply this y at an exponent of 1, that y has an exponent of 1. So when I multiply y times y, I get y to the second power, y to the second power, because I added 1 plus 1 to get 2. And then when I multiply y times negative 2, well, that's just negative 2y. Again, if you need to, you can rewind the video a little bit and go back to any part that you don't understand and watch it again, and make sure you take time to write out the problems that we're going through. So now for this problem, we have 2x to the third power, and we're going to multiply that by each term in parentheses, which is x squared minus 8x and plus 1. So we start off first with 2x to the third, 2x to the third times x squared. Well, it's going to be 2 times x. And when I add my exponents, the 3 plus the 2, it gives me x to the fifth. So now I have to multiply 2x to the third power times negative 8x. Well, 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. And then x to the third power times x is going to be x to the fourth power. And now we have to multiply the 2x to the third power times the 1. Well, 2x to the third power times 1 is just 2x to the third. And that's the end of this problem. because none of these terms can be combined because each of them have different exponents for the variable x. Each of them have different exponents for the variable x. So we cannot combine it. So we're done with this one. Okay, with this problem, we have x minus 2 times x minus y. And a good way to think about this is doing the distributive property twice. So we're going to multiply. If I think about covering up that 2, I'm going to first, with a negative 2, I'm going to first multiply the x times the x to give me x squared. And then I'm going to multiply the x times the negative y to give me negative x, y. So again, imagining covering up that negative 2 and just multiplying the x times the x to get x squared, and then multiplying the x times the negative y to give you negative x, y. Now, we think about covering up this x and multiplying the negative 2 times x, which will give me negative 2x. And now if we cover up that x, let's say negative 2 times the negative y. Well, the negative times negative is going to be positive, and then 2 times y is just 2y. And actually, this is my final answer. There are no terms here that I can combine. This has x squared, this has xy, this term has just x, this term has just y. There's nothing here to combine, so that finishes that problem too. Now this problem is similar to the last. We're going to think of it as using the distributive property twice. So what we want to do is multiply. I think about covering up the positive 5. I'm going to first multiply 3pq times 6pq. And that's going to give me, well, 3 times 6 is 18. P times P be P squared. Then Q times Q is Q squared. So again, covering up the plus 5, we just multiplied the 3PQ times the 6PQ, which gave me 3 times 6, 18. P times P, P squared. Q times Q is Q squared. Now I'm going to multiply the 3PQ times the negative 11. So then the 3 times the negative 11 would give me negative 33. And then the PQ, just add that to the end. So now, if you think about covering up the 3PQ, I'm going to multiply 5 times 6PQ and then multiply 5 times the negative 11. So 5 times 6 give me 30, and bring down the P and the Q. And then the 5 times the negative 11 would give me negative 55. Here I can combine like terms, and I'm going to underline the terms that we can't combine. So now this is going to equal, I bring down the 18 P squared Q squared. And now I have negative 33 PQ plus 30 PQ. Well, negative 33 plus 30 gives me a negative 3. And then I bring down PQ. It's supposed to be a Q. Q. And now there's nothing to combine with the negative 55, so I just bring that down. So think of this as, I know it's a lot of steps involved, but think of it as using the distributive property twice, and then we combined like terms. Oh, and then a key thing is that when you multiplied, for example, we multiplied 3PQ times 6PQ. It was number times number, 3 times 3 3 times 6 to give me 18. P times P to give me P squared, and Q times Q to give me Q squared. A few more examples, and then we'll be done. Again, we want to look at this problem as using the distributive property twice. So we're going to multiply the b times 2b squared. Then we're going to multiply the b times the negative 5b. Then we're going to multiply the b times the 8. Let's do that first. So the b times 2b squared is going to be 2b to the third power. And now b times negative 5b is going to be negative 5b squared. And we have one more term to distribute that b to. So it's going to be b times 8, which is going to be positive 8b. So now if you think about covering up that b and think about multiplying or distributing 3 times 2b squared, and then 3 times negative 5b, and then 3 times 8. Once we do all of that, and then we combine like terms, then we'll be done. Okay, so 3 times 2b squared, well, 3 times 2 is 6. And then we add the b squared. Now we multiply 3 times negative 5b. That's going to be negative 15b. And then we have 3 times the 8, which is just 24. Again, think of it as using distributive property twice. Now we're going to see what terms we can combine. Let's see. My first term, 2b to the third power. I'm gonna look and see, do I have any other terms that have b to the third power? Nope, I don't, so I'm gonna just write that on my next line. 2b to the third power. Now I'm going to underline every term that has a b squared in it. And I'll underline those terms twice. So now what I have is negative 5b squared plus 6b squared. Well, negative 5 plus 1. Negative 5 plus 6 is 1. So I'm going to have 1b squared, or I can just remove the 1 and just have b squared. Now I'm going to underline my terms that have just b in them, and I'm going to underline those 3 times. So what I have is 8b minus 15b, which is going to equal negative 7b. And the only thing I have left is the 24 over here. So I'm going to just bring this down. And there are no other terms that can be combined. So this problem is finished also. Okay, well, that completes everything for the multiplication of polynomials. Remember to take your time and practice. If you need to, rewind this video back, pause it, write down something that you maybe missed or didn't understand. But just take your time and work through it and ask questions. All right, y'all, take care. Keep working hard, and I'll see you in the next video.